Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Douglas Johnson. I am a yoga teacher at the advanced 500-hour level. I'm an ordained minister, musician, kirtan artist, amongst other things. And today I wanted to share about what movies can teach us about spiritual reality. Before I get into the talk, however, I do want to thank the community that makes these talks available without a paywall, and that is my Patreon community on Patreon. So they contribute monthly, and they allow me to approach this as part of my job. So if you'd like to become a part of that community, please check out the links below. It really does help out at any level. You can contribute, and there's no paywall, there's not really extras over there. It's the same content, but you are now taking part in helping to create this content. This content is a community effort. I do my part, but my patrons also do their part. You can also make one-time donations through PayPal or Venmo, again, links below. And of course, if you're on YouTube, you can help out liking, subscribing, and sharing. All right, so what do movies have to teach us about spiritual reality? Well, I have three lessons that I'd like to share, and I think I'll share them in three separate videos. So this will be part one, and this is something that I've shared before, but it's been a minute. And when I teach something, it's never exactly the same twice. So it's not bad to revisit certain topics. So this first analogy about using films, it is to explore how the right relationship with reality, how we can establish the right relationship with reality. From a spiritual perspective, because what we find is some spiritual teachings tend to have us be very, very aloof from reality, and then other teachings seem to make reality very, very real. And so which is it, right? Where is the right balance? So that's what this first teaching is about. Now, traditionally, instead of using movies, very often the analogy that's used is reality is like a dream, which is a very useful teaching. This is similar, but there's some nuance, I think, that we get from film, watching film, that we don't get from the idea of a dream, and vice versa. So I'm not saying that the dream analogy is useless, but it's one you've heard before. This film analogy, as far as I know, no one else is teaching it because it came to me spontaneously. So it's not, I didn't learn this from another spiritual teacher. So the movie I usually use, and please don't get hung up on the movie, just try and understand the analogy. The movie I usually use is a Mission Impossible film. And imagine you're watching this film and Tom Cruise is there on the side of an airplane or the side of a mountain. He's hanging by a finger, and it's a big climactic moment in the film. Now, humans pay money to go see films, and they go because they think they're going to have a pleasant experience. So if we're watching Mission Impossible, and again, please put your personal things aside. Just think of a film that you enjoy and plug in the right characters and actors. But in Mission Impossible, it's Tom Cruise, and he's playing Ethan Hunt, right? And so imagine this big climactic movie moment. How could you enjoy that moment? Well, I say there are basically three ways you could be relating to what's happening, and only one of them is going to allow you to enjoy it. And I think this is the same of our life, okay? So the first relationship is one of being completely engrossed in the film and actually believing that the film is real, and maybe actually believing you are the character. So imagine you're watching Ethan Hunt and he's on the side of a mountain, he's hanging by a finger, and then all of a sudden you become him. Okay, so most of us, if we suddenly found ourselves hanging on the side of a mountain by a finger, we would probably go to the bathroom right there. We'd wet ourselves or whatever it is, and we'd probably start to hyperventilate. We'd probably let go of the finger because we're not used to doing that kind of thing. And it would be just a terrifying, terrifying, traumatic moment in our lives, right? So this, I hope, is obvious, is not the right relationship with the film. Now, I'll say this is how most people relate with their life. Most people are completely bought in, 100%. Even if they say they're spiritual, they have no real experience of anything outside of that movie. So they don't see that the movie is simply playing on a screen and that they could get up at any time and leave, or they could look away, or whatever it is. They're just completely locked in. This is the only reality that they know. And so it's terrifying. When something terrifying is happening on the screen, it is terrifying to them, okay? So that's the vast majority of humanity today. Then we have a smaller group who we might call spiritual aspirants, or something along those lines. People who are more spiritually awake. And these people often relate with the movie like they're just telling themselves the whole time that they're watching the movie that it's not real. And that's true. The Mission Impossible isn't real. They're like sitting there, well, Ethan Hunt isn't real, it's just Tom Cruise acting like Ethan Hunt. They're constantly looking away from the film, or even closing their eyes and meditating. And that's no way to enjoy the film Mission Impossible. You're not going to enjoy it. You know, maybe it's the bad writing. Maybe it's bad acting in the film. You know, maybe you don't believe Tom Cruise is a good actor, whatever it is. It takes you out of the disbelief, right? In order for us to enjoy a film, we have to suspend a certain amount of disbelief. We have to be willing to enter into the narrative and the story and the characters that the film's telling. If I don't care about Ethan Hunt, if I hate Ethan Hunt, then I won't enjoy the film, because the film is about his plight, his story, his arc, okay? So this is what many spiritual, quote-unquote spiritual people, spiritual traditions sometimes encourage us to do. It's just a dream. It's not real. So many people who learn about spirituality, that's the way they approach things. Okay, none of this is real. I don't need to worry about anything. I'm going to go meditate in a cave. Okay? So both of these, being too identified with the character in the film, too sucked into the film, not knowing the film isn't real, is not any way to enjoy the film. And then being too aloof from the film, being too uninterested in the film, isn't how you enjoy the film. So what is the third option? How can we enjoy the film? And this is largely what I try and teach people, is about actually enjoying life. I think that's really what we're here to do, in my experience. Spirituality is a part of that. I don't think we can really enjoy life if we're too identified. Again, that's the first option. I believe I am Ethan Hunt. I believe I am Douglas Johnson. I'm completely bought in. The second option, where I'm like, none of this is real, you're not real, I'm not real, there's no self, this kind of talk, which we hear a lot in spirituality, and there's a truth to it. I'm not saying there's no reason for those things, but if we take that as our only point of reference, if we take that too far, too extreme, then we don't care about the characters in the film. We don't care what happens in the film, and we're not going to enjoy it. We're just basically going to wait for the film to be over. And that's what you find some meditators do. They basically try and meditate until they leave their body, death or otherwise. They're just basically over it. Okay? And this is a very sort of classical approach to spirituality. Early Buddhists and yogis often took this kind of approach where they saw life as almost like a sin, samsara, like suffering. Just life itself was just pure suffering. And so you were just trying to separate yourself from it. What's interesting is later, okay, so things evolve. Things get more nuanced. People understand things more, especially if you believe in reincarnation. Teachers are coming back. They taught one thing for a while. They die, they come back with a deeper realization, okay? So we find later teachings in Tantra, both Tantric Buddhism and Tantric Yoga, that life is actually to be enjoyed, not to be rejected, but not enjoyed from a hedonistic perspective, not enjoyed as fully bought into the character, but enjoyed from this perspective that I'm about to share with you, okay? So the best perspective, the best way to enjoy a film, and we've all done this, we all know what it is to be invested in the story and the characters, but not identified completely with them, okay? Then we can enjoy the story, we can enjoy the film. And this is what I teach, and this is what I think many tantric teachings are about. We use spirituality and spiritual tools to give us a grounding and a perspective that allows us to see, you could say, the screen that the film is playing on. We realize that there's more than just this silver screen and the drama that's playing out on it. We realize that we can relax and let the drama play out and actually enjoy the drama, because that's not all that there is. If I think that's all that there is and I'm completely identified, again, I will suffer. If I completely disidentify, I may not suffer, but I'm going to be very bored and I'm going to be very disinterested in what happens. If I can disidentify, but still be invested, still care, then I can actually enjoy what is unfolding. And it's my belief, my intuition, my experience that this is the sweet spot. This is the complete circle. In spirituality, most people start out completely identified with their body, their mind, their thoughts, their emotions. Then they go through what's called a spiritual awakening, and they realize, oh, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not these emotions, right? But then sometimes they don't complete the circle and realize, oh, actually I am this body, this mind, these thoughts, these emotions, and everything else. That is the complete circle. That is the complete spiritual journey. So some teachings in spirituality that are considered quite advanced, like being the witness, and that is a stage, that is a step that we should experience and go through. That isn't the final step. And again, the witness is this aloofness, this idea, well, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. And that's the same as being like, this movie isn't real, this movie isn't real, Ethan Hunt isn't real, that's just Tom Cruise. You're not going to enjoy the film if that's the way that you are experiencing it. So yes, you can go through your life that way, but you're not going to enjoy your life if you do that. And again, when I say enjoy, it's not about maximizing pleasure, but it is about eliminating, reducing suffering and really being one with life, okay? So I hope this was helpful. Again, I think I'm going to create a couple other videos sharing other insights that I've had around this relationship of our perspective and how we view what's going on in our lives, and how films, the way we watch movies, can actually help orient us in the right way. So as always, everybody, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And if you'd like to go a little further, make a one-time donation or become a patron on Patreon. I also have a shop with some stuff I've set up with a friend of mine who's an artist. And so there are links at the beginning and the end of the video, like a little QR that you can scan. Until next time, namaste, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.